go ahead and get started. Hopefully everything will continue to work okay. Hey guys, good morning. I'm Kenesha Frazier, and we are doing our second episode today. Last time we were talking about reducing your expenses. Oh, you can see and hear me. That's good. But last time we were talking about reducing your expenses. So just a really quick recap. We're talking about looking at the services, the subscriptions that you're using. So also some of your utilities, so homeowners insurance, car insurance, and really looking at those to see if you could switch to a different company and save some money. So keep some money in your pocket. So that was really important from last time. But then it also kind of leads us into the direction of creating a budget or creating a spending plan. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that this time. But quickly, I forgot that a friend of mine told me about an app called Truebill. And on Truebill, they actually help you with canceling some subscriptions and alerting you if there's like recurring payments coming out of your credit card or your debit card. And then also if there's any kind of sneaky charges that start to increase and things like that, they'll help you actually request a refund in the app. So that's just, it's called Truebill once again. So that's something, I believe it's about $4.99 a month or something like that, but it could be helpful in showing you how to reduce some expenses and seeing how much more money you could have in your spending plan or budget for the month. And so, although these are really the basics that I'm teaching, but this is how I ended up getting out of debt. So everyone is still like, okay, I still don't really get how she did that. It still doesn't really make sense, but the basics don't change, but your mindset and your behavior do. So that's really important to think about. It's, setting the intention, setting the goals as well. But my behavior specifically was very strict. So I stuck to the budget that I set. I stopped spending when there was no money left. And then every additional cent that I had that didn't go to my bare bones budget went to paying off the debt. So that's really important to remember. So really the basics is what actually gets you there. But it's like you amplify those basics and you take it, really, I always call, my dad always says I should never say this, but balls to the wall. You go all in. And the going all in on the basics and changing your mindset and your behavior is what actually gets you to the point of being able to pay off debt and being able to move forward with building a savings. So what we're talking about today, once again, is beginning your spending plan or budget. So it's what's coming in and what's going out. And so that's something that you start with but this probably turns out backwards, I would think. So anyways, the point is that you start at the top of your sheet. So if you're going to I use a EveryDollar app. So it's a basic budget app. And you're looking at, a few basic categories or major categories that are prevalent in your life. So usually it's like housing and utilities, it's your food, so eating out, and restaurants, and then your cars, so it's your transportation, your gas, your car maintenance, things like that, and then more personal lifestyle things. So maybe it's pet care or it's shopping, and then also, of course, your debts. So those are just a few areas. So once again, housing and utilities, looking at your food, looking at your transportation, looking at your personal lifestyle, and then looking at your debts. And so your debts would include, of course, your medical debt, your student loan debt, your car debt if you still are paying a monthly payment on that. So those are the main categories that more than likely you'll be looking at. But don't be afraid to add some additional categories if you need to. So if you're looking at additional categories, it could be, for me, I had to add a miscellaneous fund. So this is kind of just a fund that catches those few things that you're like, okay, I forgot that, I don't know, maybe you forgot that you're going to have your car sticker, which usually comes every year, but maybe you forgot about it and you didn't include it in your budget. You would hope that you put enough money in your miscellaneous fund to basically catch those, oops, I forgot that was going to come out. Or, oops, I forgot I would have to plan for this person's birthday and buy them a gift or buy them a card, whatever the case may be. So your miscellaneous fund will catch some of those areas. And then, of course, a fun fund too, and maybe that goes into your personal lifestyle. But just something where you can do a few things, maybe go out to to a concert once in a while, even on your budget, because that's okay, because you need to still have a little bit of fun even while you're paying off debt. Okay, so and these are kind of the things where when you're looking at a bare bone budget, it's how you plan for, okay, maybe a recession is coming, or how you plan for, okay, maybe you're going on maternity leave, and when you need to go down to bare bones, you really want to look at those, let's say it looks like 5 categories: the housing, utilities, your food, your car, your personal lifestyle, and what are your debts. So you really want to look at those few main categories when you're first getting started. And then don't forget to add in those few services and utilities that you were able to switch and save. So those you want to make sure that you also add back into your budget, because you're saying, okay, this is what was left that I want to keep after I canceled the subscriptions I didn't need, I canceled the beauty box I didn't need. So this is what was left after reducing my expenses. So you want to add those back into your budget, add a line item back into your budget for that, okay? And then remember, you can use whatever works best for you. So if it's writing it on the paper, or on your computer, or using Excel, or using an app, and then once again, I use the EveryDollar app, and it's just so simple, because I've used a few before. I want to say there's another app called Good Budget as well, but I have my sister using EveryDollar too, because it's very simple, self-explanatory. You put in what your check was, and then just as a reminder too, when your check comes in, it's not necessarily the same every month, you have to remember. So you may have to kind of guesstimate on average what your check will be. So if it's $2,300 every pay period, you kind of undercut it a little bit, so to make sure that you're not overestimating, because you don't want to, basically have a falling out and say, oh, I'm $400 less than I thought came in. Okay, so that's important as well. So, okay, so now we're at the point where we're looking at those main categories, right? And then you break them down once again. So housing, utilities would be homeowners insurance, car insurance. Trying to think of what else would be under housing, utilities. So electric bill, gas bill, all of those things, the pest control. And then your food would be restaurants. If you're going to the grocery store, those kind of food items. And then your car would be your car maintenance, your gas, if you get your car washed all the time. And then your personal lifestyle would be pet care, would be shopping, those kind of things. And then your debts would be student loans, they would be medical bills, any of those debts that you have left to pay, okay? And then, let's see, where are we? And so once you have all those written down, you want to find out, on average, what do I spend? So it's kind of like you're going back and looking at those credit cards to say, okay, what am I usually charging for to get my hair done? So this would be something that would be under, let's say, the personal category. Say, okay, well, maybe per month I usually do $300. And you put the $300 and you put that into your app, right? And then you're saying, okay, well, for groceries I usually can do $250 for the month. So you put that in. But then remember, you also want to take it a step further, because the point is that you can scale back on some of these categories. And you scale back in order to pay down some debts and in order to save. So if you went from paying $300 for your hair to $275, so now you've given yourself some wiggle room in the budget. So now there's, if I can do math, $25 that is remaining that you can put towards debt or put in your savings. So you have to think about that in each category. And this is not going to be magic, guys. I have to be honest. It is not going to be magic. I make it sound all simple and there's these categories. It takes time. So it may take you 3 months. It may take you 6 months to really get into the feel of, okay, I can actually cut back in these few categories. Or I can actually cut this out completely. I don't really need this as a budget item. I can save this money. So it'll take you a while. And for the first few months, I went over in my spending plan. I was like, okay, why does this say that I am negative $255? So that means that for that month, I was living above my means. So that means I actually spent more than that came in, okay? And so that's just an idea. So when you put those averages in, comb back through and say, okay, where can I cut just a few more dollars? That is very important, okay? And then remember, when you're swiping your credit cards, swiping your debit cards, spending cash, all of these times are times when you need to be, you're basically documenting. You are documenting, whether it's on paper, Excel, or in your app. And that's why the app is so quick and easy for me, because at the gas pump, I can literally go in and say, I just spent $25.22 at Citgo gas station. And I can put that in, it logs the date and everything for me. So I can put it in and then go from there. And then also the app, a lot of the apps will have it so you can connect it to your credit card as well, credit card or debit card, and they'll try to prioritize them for you or categorize them for you. So put them into, okay, this was gas, this was food, but I like to do it myself because it makes me more mindful and more intentional every single day when I'm going to the grocery store or going to the gas station. So that's really important. And then just remember that now is the time, to save, to budget, and to squeeze the budget and go bare bones. But then we're able to chisel off the extra when we do that, okay? So that's really important. And I know this was super quick, and it really is the bare basics, because really I need it to sound as simple as I can, because really the process is basic and simple. And I know it's kind of like when you get humans involved, it seems like it's more complicated than it is, but really the basics are simple. But I think we overcomplicate it at the end of the day, unfortunately, when it really is just, okay, these 5 categories, document when I use my money, and don't spend more than I'm making, right? Because then remember, guys, that I reduced my expenses. I lived bare bones, made a spending plan, and then every cent that I had went towards debt. That was how I paid off $100,000 in 1 year. And it's also how I saved a 6 months emergency fund, okay? There's no secrets, there's no magic bullets, hard old-fashioned work. And I'm like, I'm not special. Although maybe my parents would say otherwise, but I'm not special. Hold on one second. I wanted to see if someone wrote something here. Do you adjust your budget to add the oops items into a category? Hey Christina, if I'm understanding that correctly, so like in the miscellaneous fund, like if for some reason I had an oopsie and it didn't have a category, initially it would go into the miscellaneous fund, but then it's like when you know better, you do better. So the next month or the next year, whatever the case may be, I say, okay, well, I forgot about this last month, so I need to make sure that I add this category in. So like I just joined a networking group, and so I'm paying for it every single month, but I forgot about it the very first month, so it went in my oopsie miscellaneous fund. But then the next month, I made sure that I added into my personal lifestyle category that it'll be $25 a month now. So hopefully I answered that question. Yeah, okay. Are you saying to create a budgeted amount versus actual amount column in a spreadsheet? So a budgeted amount versus an actual amount. Yes, that's important as well. So are you saying, Christina said, are you saying to create a budgeted amount versus actual amount column in a spreadsheet? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So a very good idea. So a budgeted amount is, okay, how much do I anticipate on spending? And then you look at what you actually spent. So in an app, it's a little easier because you put in your budgeted amount. You say, okay, for my hair, I budgeted $300. So that's the amount I budgeted. But then in actuality, I spent $254. So you can go in, press the plus sign basically, and maybe I need to do one where I actually show you guys what inside an app looks like, a budgeting app, but you press the plus sign, you can go put in, I spent $254. So it'll tell you, okay, this is how much money you have left to spend in this category. So it gives you an idea of where you are, whether it is in the middle of the month or at the end of the month. And it'll tell you right then, if you spend $322, you're negative 22. So that line item shows up as red to say, hey, you went over budget. So once again, that's an instance where you say, if you went over budget, either you need to scale back that line item, or you need to budget or allot for more money in that particular category. So that's important. And then the app is EveryDollar app. And so you actually have, you can do a free version or you can do a paid version. And the paid version is where you can connect it to your credit card or debit card. So I'm like, there's EveryDollar, there's Good Budget. There are so many different apps that you can find in the App Store that are free. And so feel free, because I've tried a few before. So you want to find the one that really works for you and your life. That's really important. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before I get going is that, so I have actually a few other finance people that I follow. And they mentioned this, and I thought, okay, you know what? This is something that I think is important to mention as well. And so we're going to close out with just talking about, so we know the government is shut down, right? We know that. So it's been, I don't even know how many weeks it's been now. So like 2 weeks or something like that. So it's been shut down. People are either at home not getting paid, or they're deemed as essential and going in and not getting paid. I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy at this point, right? But when you start thinking about the government being shut down, the tax returns are saying, oh, well, maybe they'll get those out on time. We're not really sure. They're saying yes, they will. And usually the tax returns are cushion, that comes in and you're able to pay off a few debts with that or get current with your current bills. That's usually the cushion, which I did not tell you guys that before. Make sure you have a cushion in your budget too. When you take your budget all the way down to zero, so you give out all of the money that you made, that's scary. So if it's $200, $300, give yourself a little wiggle room in there. So when you pay out the money to the creditors or you pay your bills, make sure there's a little cushion so you can at least have some breathing room, okay? But okay, so back to, so the tax returns may not come, they may not be timely. They may not actually arrive as normal, right? And there's whispers of a recession and all of these things. And my personal hospital is merging with another hospital right now. So I'm like, this is like real life, real deal stuff. Things that affect our everyday and our livelihood and being able to care for our families, all of these things. And so it's important to be able to use a budget, squeeze your budget, pay off some debts, save, and actually store for the winter. Like bring it all in and store the money for the winter, because we can't be out here, as we've been saying, living your best life, spending more money than you make, and then living our, the greatest life ever on Instagram and Facebook, when it's not really true. When we all need to be doing the exact same thing, which is, what are those things? Making that budget, squeezing that budget, paying off our debts, saving, and storing for the winter. And it was like, when I listened to the other finance person I listened to yesterday, she kept saying, are you storing for the winter? If your hospital is merging or your job is merging, some people are going to lose their job. Are you storing for the winter? And I'm like, am I really storing for the winter? Am I really preparing and trying to prevent the things that happen? Like, because you can't control whether the government is shut down. You can't control whether you get your tax return on time. I can't control whether my hospital merges or not, or when the recession will come, or any of that. But you sure as heck can be ready. And so it's when we're overspending and not paying attention to the money that is coming in, and it's like, I always think of, for me, because I'm religious, I'm like, God has given me this money and provided me with these things, and I am not being wise with how I am using it. That's an issue for me. And so you want to do things that serve you long term, and overspending and living above your means is not serving you. So I need you guys to understand that. And a lot of us are, out struggling and really just having a hard time with all the things that, are being placed before us, and especially in regards to money. It's the myth that it's crazy difficult to manage our money and crazy difficult to just manage how it comes in and how it goes out. And we have to stick to the simple basics, and we can really start to move forward in our lives and really see how the money can serve us in the long term. So ultimately, I'm like, what are you guys doing about it? Let's get going. It's like 2019 is the time. It's definitely the time for us to really start getting ahead. Okay. Let me see if anybody asked any other questions. Anybody have any other questions? I don't know how long this was. Sorry for my initial technical difficulties. I don't know if there's something else I can provide you guys with that would be helpful, because maybe I can do, you know, like in the YouTube, what do you call that? Like in the YouTube comments, the YouTube notes, I can maybe put the Truebill app information there, or the few apps that I use to help me with my spending plan or budget. Maybe that would be helpful, something for you to refer back to without having to watch the whole video again. So if anyone doesn't have any other questions, I will get going. I wish you guys a very happy Wednesday. It is raining, so I'm trying to, you know, get my pep back in my step a little bit. Oh, Christina said it'd be great to share the budget apps, so I will add those to the video when I post it. You guys have a great Wednesday. Bye.